Hi, I'm Paul Kyogan from GK Tuition, and in this video I want to go through a Leaving Cert exam question from 2016 paper 1, and it's question 8 part B. Now you'll notice you're given a lot of information in this question, and ultimately a lot of the questions where you seem like overloaded with information, you have to just boil it down to what's relevant. So Jessica's competing in the heptathlon, and I'm told that if she competes in the 200 meters, this formula is used to calculate the number of points she achieves, where X is the time and Y is the number of points she gets. I'm told the value of A, the value of B, and the value of C, and I'm told that Jessica runs the 200 meters in 23.8 seconds. So if we just plug it straight into our formula, we work out that 23.8 seconds is equivalent to 1,000 points. Then I'm given a similar equation for the javelin, and Jessica throws the javelin 58.2 meters. Which means if I plug my A, B, C and X into my formula, I work out that by throwing the javelin this far, she gets 1,020 points. Okay, so for B part 2, I'm told that the world record distance for the javelin merits a score of 1,295 points. So in this case, I now know A, B, C and Y, but I don't know the value of my X. So in this case, I've still got one equation, one unknown, so I need to find what distance is equivalent to 1,295 points in the javelin. So in this case, it's the same formula, I'm just going to sub in. Instead of Y, it's 1295, and I know that that will be equal to 15.9803 times X minus 3.8 to the power of 1.04. So again, I've just got one equation, one unknown, so it's going to be relatively straightforward to solve this. Now on the next line, probably the easiest thing to do is divide both sides by 15.9803. If I divide the left-hand side by 15.9803, I get 81.0373. And on the right-hand side, I'm just left with X minus 3.8 to the power of 1.04. Now I want to isolate my bracket, so I need to do something with this power. So I'm going to rewrite the right-hand side as X minus 3.8. And the left-hand side will become 81.0373 to the power of 1 over 1.04. So I brought the power across, and it's the left-hand side to the reciprocal of this. So it's 1 over 1.04. Probably the easiest thing to do here is to just plug that straight into my calculator. So if I plug that into my calculator, I get 68.434. So to get X on its own, I'm just going to add 3.8 to both sides. So I know my final answer, the maximum distance, the world record distance for throwing the javelin is 72.23 meters. And it asked me to leave it to 2 decimal places, so always just verify, make sure you leave it in the correct form. Okay, now the final part of this question, we're talking about Jessica's 800 meter race. We're told that the formula to derive the number of points you achieve in the heptathlon is given as this. We're told what the value of A is and the value of B is. And Jessica runs the 800 meter race in 2 minutes and 1.84 seconds. And that she achieves 1,087 points. So the only thing I don't know from this equation is my C. Now you just have to be careful about what you sub in for your X. Notice at the start of part B, it told me that X is in seconds. So 2 minutes and 1.84 seconds is equivalent to 121.84 seconds. So my X value is 121.84. Once I have that, I can now just sub into my formula where my only unknown will be C. So I have 1,087 is equal to 0.11193 times 254 minus 121.84 to the power of C. Now at this point, you should recognize that my unknown is in the power. So that means if my unknown is in the power, I'm going to have to introduce logs at some point. However, not yet. I think a lot of students will recognize that, okay, the unknown is in the power, I have to introduce logs, and they do it too soon. So at this point, you can't introduce logs. You have to isolate this bracket first. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of my 0.11193. So the easiest way to do that is to divide both sides by 0.11193. If I divide the left-hand side by 0.11193, I'm going to get 9711.43. And if I divide the right hand side by that, I'm just left with my bracket. Now my bracket is 254 minus 121.84. So if I subtract those two values, I get 132.16. So 132.16 to the power of c is equal to this. And now I can introduce my logs. So I have an unknown, my unknown is in the power, which means I have to introduce logs. Literally just means you're sticking an ln in front of both sides. So ln 9711.43 will be equal to ln 132.16 to the power of c. The reason I introduce logs is because now I can apply the rules of logs. My third rule of logs says that if I have log of something to a power, I can just bring my power in front. So the right hand side becomes c times ln 132.16, which and my left hand side will just stay the same. So now you'll notice my powers are gone. The question is a lot more straightforward. Now to get c on its own, I'm going to divide both sides by ln 132.16. So my left hand side is just ln 9711.43, and I'm going to divide that by ln 132.16. And if I plug all that into my calculator, I was asked to get my answer to 2 decimal places, so my final answer is c is equal to 1.88. Okay, so for the entirety of part B, it was essentially just manipulation. The question itself, there was a lot of information in it, but if you just boil it down, just write out your formula, write out the information you've been given, and then sub in, it's actually a very straightforward question. So I hope the video made sense. Again, as always, if you're unsure of any of it, or if you feel like some of it wasn't very clear, just let me know in class or send me an email and I'll try and explain it differently.